Good evening. Come in and be welcome. I am the storyteller, and tonight's adventure in the macabre is a story called The Spirits of Hastings Pier. The Spirits of Hastings Pier is a story of Brant Cybrell. He is a man who is disturbed by the supernatural, and he is a man who is being pulled inextricably toward his doom. Spirits of Hastings Pier. Are you all right, Mr. Cybrell? A concerned agent behind the Delta Airlines ticket counter asked him. He didn't answer her right away. That was his first mistake. You see, my dear viewers, Brant Cybrell's one weakness had always been an attractive female form, and right now what he could see of the ticket agent's figure held his attention. She had to be at least 5 feet 9 inches tall, he thought. An unblemished olive complexion, short brown hair, and a thin, high cheekbone face, with dark blue eyes that any man would happily lose his soul in. Definitely a model type, he thought absently. Her measurements had to be 34, 22, 34. Why can't normal people work at airports? When he came out of his reverie, he realized that she was talking to him. Are you all right, sir? Brant's eyes darted around the terminal nervously, and when he ran his hands through his hair, he felt like he was sweating excessively. He quickly glanced at her jacket for her name tag. Yes, Miss Massinelli, he stammered. I'll be all right once I can get on the plane, through security, and go to sleep. I have a slight fear of flying. Sorry to have troubled you. That's okay, sir. I'm just glad you're all right. Try to relax on your flight, Mr. Cybrell, and you'll be just fine. Miranda Massinelli waited until the passenger was out of sight before she called security. Hello, security. This is Miranda Massinelli at the Delta Airlines ticket counter. I have a suspicious passenger headed your way. The passenger's name is Brant Cybrell. He is bound for London, England on flight 67. We have him scheduled to depart at 7 this evening. He is tall and thin, short brown hair, gray eyes, almost anorexic. He has a long, thin face and may be very sad. He has a hangdog expression on his face. You can't miss him. Will you check him out so he doesn't give our flight crew any trouble on the plane? This simple statement from Miranda Massinelli set in motion a flurry of activity over at the Transportation Security Authority. Facial scanners scanned the crowd, and soon enough they found what they sought. Raphael Silton, head of security at Detroit Metro, clipped his phone back on his belt and turned to look at his wall of monitors. Miss Massinelli was correct. Brant Cybrell stuck out like a sore thumb in a terminal full of passengers. The facial recognition scanners already had a positive match. The only thing to do now was to go question the man. Raphael Silton quickly made his way to the Metro Airport security checkpoint, and just as Brant Cybrell was passing through the checkpoint, he stopped him. Excuse me, Mr. Cybrell. My name is Raphael Silton. I am head of security here, and this is a random security inspection. I need to speak with you. Will you follow me, please? Brant Cybrell looked at the man who had addressed him. The man had shoulder-length black hair, green eyes, and a pale face. Clearly this man was an office worker who got out as infrequently as he did. Of course, he replied quickly, anything to help security. Raphael Silton felt an immediate sense of relief. He was glad that so far the man hadn't made a scene. Quickly he led Brant to a small, gray, windowless room just outside the airport security office. The room contained a table and 2 chairs, and he motioned for Mr. Cyberill to have a seat. When Brant was seated, Raphael Sultan spoke to him again. "Now, Mr. Cyberill, my name is as I have stated is Raphael Sultan. My position is head of security for Metro Airport, and this is a random security check. We have some questions for you to answer before we can let you on the plane to London. Do you understand all that I have told you?" Brant Cyberill nodded his head yes, but the man across the table from him just kept staring at him. It was then that he realized that the man wished him to respond verbally to him. "Of course I understand what you've said to me." He couldn't keep the irritation out of his voice. Raphael pretended that he didn't notice. "Good. First question, why are you going to London? Is it for business or pleasure?" "I guess you could say it is for pleasure," Brant answered quickly, "but London is not my final destination." "Oh really?" Raphael was curious now. "Then where is your final destination?" "After I arrive in London, I plan to go to Victoria Station and take the train to Hastings. You see, Hastings Pier burnt down on the 5th of October, and for some strange reason, I have a wish to see the remnants of it." Just why someone would want to see the remnants of a burnt pier, Raphael didn't know. To each his own, he thought. "That's fine, Mr. Cyberill, but I have a few more questions. What is your profession?" "I am an astrologer by trade," Brant answered quickly, hoping to get this thing over with as quickly as possible. Raphael looked puzzled, so he asked another question. "Why would an astrologer want to see the remnants of a burned pier?" "To tell you the truth, I'm not really sure about that myself," Brant shrugged his shoulders. "I only know that I have a strong desire to see what is left of it." "Okay, Mr. Cyberill, I have just a few more questions. Why were you so nervous at the Delta Airlines ticket counter today?" "Oh, is that what this is all about? As I explained to the young lady at the counter, I have a slight fear of flying. I will be okay once you allow me to board the plane and I can sleep, if you allow me to board the plane. However, if you detain me, I probably will never have the courage to go through with this trip again, and after this is through, I'll probably just go home. This is the last question, Mr. Cyberill. Would you be willing to consent to a strip search?" Brant gulped nervously. "I'll do whatever it takes to get on that plane. If you do have to strip search me, then so be it, but you will be receiving a call from my lawyer." At this point, my dear viewers, we begin reading from the personal journal of Brant Cyberill. The date is October 7th, 2010. I departed Detroit Metro at 7 in the evening on Delta Airlines. My destination was London, England. I was scheduled to arrive at 7:40 the next morning. A full-body cavity search had bruised my dignity and self-respect. However, once they figured out I didn't have a bomb and I wasn't a drug smuggler, they let me on the flight. Now the only thing to do is sleep until we arrive in England. I'm still not exactly sure why I'm doing this, and if my family knew I was doing this, they would probably put me back in Glen Eden. That is the loony bin. I was there for 2 months once, and my mother's favorite quote was always, "Oh, I forgot, you don't live in the real world, do you?" Well, that was okay. It will take my family 3 days to realize I'm gone, and by then it will be too late to stop me. And by then this incident will have reached its conclusion. Brant Cyberill arrived at Heathrow, October 8th, 2010, and immediately took a cab to Victoria Station. When he arrived at the station, he found the train schedules and announcements horribly confusing. he finally decided to go to Ashford International Station. Once he got there, he'd figure out where to go next. He was tired and needed more sleep. Once Brant got to the Ashford International Station, he discovered that he could have taken a train directly to Hastings. He had gone 45 minutes out of his way by train. So, Brant bought a ticket to Hastings, but he discovered that he had an hour and 45 minutes to wait until the next train departed. So he thought he would check out some of the local businesses. That is how he discovered the Bull's Head Inn and Pub. The pleasant scent of autumn leaves permeated the room as Brant walked through the open door of the pub. He saw a large room with a wood floor and white walls. Closest to him were many round wooden tables with a bar at the far end of the room. Brant walked across the room to the bar and ordered a hot tea. The bartender gave him an odd look, but complied silently. Then Brant walked back to the table by the door, sat, and started to drink his tea. He needed the hot tea, but that was probably because he hadn't had anything to eat or drink since yesterday. Brant had gotten used to running on fumes. As he sat there, he took out his journal and started to write. October 8th, 2010. If any of his friends were still alive, they would have loved this place. He could imagine himself sitting here for days playing advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This place is a dungeon master's dream. I had always hoped that the future would hold something better for my life, but sad to say that those days in college were probably the best days of my life. The smell of the autumn leaves probably have me thinking this way. I haven't thought about school in years. After all, autumn is the end of summer and the end of a season of our lives. A sudden thought struck Brant, so he finished his tea and closed his journal, got up and walked back to the bar. Who do I see about getting a room? You ask me, the bartender answered. It's my place. What can I do for you? Do you want a room? Well, yes and no. Brant shrugged his shoulders. The bartender, a heavy-set man with brown hair and a craggy, weather-beaten face, said, Look, Yank, I don't mean to be rude, but it's usually one or the other. Now, do you want a room or don't you? Let me explain, Brent replied quickly. I'm going to Hastings by train, and if I can't get a room at the Minstrel's Rest, I'd like to come back here and get a room. Do you have one available? Yes, all my rooms are available upstairs except for one, and it really makes no difference to me where you sleep as long as you pay in advance, the bartender replied tersely. That's fine with me. Put one night on my charge card. Brant handed the man his charge card so he could complete the transaction. The bartender took Brant's card and scanned it. Then he handed it back to Brant.